I'm Jeff Hunt. He's Bill Thorpe. It's the State of the Union.
USA, USA, USA.
Oh, man, it was so good. I love it. Even when it's the opposing party in power, but just that, Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States. And everybody comes down. They all get their selfies, and one guy was getting his tie signed. Yes, it's like the Super Bowl for the nerds, but it's the State of the Union. I am surprised, though, by some of these text messages. Faith, the history teacher who provided the bingo card, said she couldn't even make it through. She writes, I have to tell you, in our household, we had to turn it off about an hour and a half in. So I'm going to have to watch it on my own for my class. She writes, my husband and son couldn't tolerate it. I think people who love Trump felt energized, but he didn't achieve anything in terms of getting people to come to his side. Trump grows more divisive by the day. He remains unpalatable for those who can't stand him and does not extend a hand to those who are on the fence. Wow. Other people texting in saying it was fantastic, great event. What do you think? Give us a call, 303-696-1971. Text us at 720-819-5115. By the way, Faith, people were... thank you so much for your bingo card. People were remarking they wouldn't be able to make it 5 seconds without getting drunk in light of the bingo card.
It's a great bingo card, though.
Because, it's Trump referring to Democrats or Democrats as Democrats and those types of things. It was a fantastic bingo card.
That was wonderful. Thanks for sharing.
It may have resulted in some inebriation last night.
Yay!
Let's go to the phone lines. Larry in Denver. Larry, what'd you think of the State of the Union?
Yeah, morning, Larry.
Hey, how you doing, guys? Yeah, I'm gonna be real quick. No, for me personally, I felt like I was just overweighted. I felt like something heavy was just happening with me, and that's the whole week leading up to last night because I wanted to see it, and it came to me. I had to learn how to really let go. And what came to me is like I had to say, God, thy will be done. Because what I see is that it really is a spiritual warfare that really is going on out there. And there's so many microscopic things that's under regarding the world, regarding America, and we don't even know about. But that's why God said, in my opinion, for me, to bring it to him because we don't even know about those things. And what reminded me last week a little bit, and not, to go back on the call, but Bill, I just remember last week, you was regulated to being called a Catholic in name only.
Oh, yeah. I get that a lot.
Basically. And well, I'm just saying, it's like, that's scary to me because people don't know you or people, I don't know people, but how it gets to be so simple because you don't agree with me, I don't agree with you. You can just say, a Democrat is this, a liberal is this, a conservative is this. And we get so simplistic with it. And that's why I say, it really is spiritual warfare. And to me, there's nothing new under the sun, like they say. And what we're coming to is really clear to me is like what happened during the Civil War, civil rights, is God's word versus man's word and man's interpretation of God's word. And this is pretty serious stuff that's out there. And I take it to be pretty serious. So when I found myself weighted down, I say I found myself carrying this.
Now, I got a question. I got a question for you on this. And one, I appreciate what you said about, last week they called me, the callers a Catholic in name only. The thing is, I never take that personally because I was kicked out of religion class in high school and in college. So I've always been questioning Mother Church, and I've always been a little bit of a problem. So that is not new to me. But Larry, what I want to ask you about is that idea of religion and religion's role inside of our society, kind of a larger 10,000-foot question, also given a reaction to the State of the Union last night.
And Trump says,
yes,
there's a renewal of Christianity happening now.
Yeah. So that's what I'm kind of going with, Larry. Exactly where Jeff's going is, are we now making our church and our church affiliation subservient to our politics? I heard this a lot about certain Democrats not being real Christians or not really going to church, and you have people that throw rocks at Trump all the time with his obvious lack of church attendance as well. And so what do you think? I want your impression on this. What do you think about the idea that we now may be taking our religion and making it subservient to our politics, which I think is wrong?
Well, again, that becomes the issue. It's interesting you said that, because one thing I did read late last night, it was coming to where there was leaders of Christian faith who are coming up, and then there's this battle that's getting ready to happen, and saying, and the movement is to say this doesn't belong within politics, but people are taking it and putting a part of politics and making that be God's words, and other people saying that doesn't belong, and there's this big battle there. To me, religion and spirituality, all that belongs in the household. It starts in the household, and then when I go out to go to school or in politics or wherever, because it's a melting pot. And who are you going to exclude? So that's why it starts there. And because when you get it into school, you say you want this piece to be in school. One thing I'll give you, and you say if spirituality works, Oklahoma, you can go look at Oklahoma, and they wanted to put Bibles in the school. And in Oklahoma, and it's the last state in the nation as far as academics for kids. So you want to do politics? It's the last in the nation as far as productivity in school. So it's hard, and right now I guess I'm just saying I just feel heavy with that, with all the name calling and stuff. I'm just calling on God. I'm sitting back, and you know what I've done also? I said, God, if you have this president, Donald Trump, if he's your leader and you want, let your will be done and let him be successful, because that's where I stand from. Because I don't know. It's too complicated, and we're throwing all kinds of things. Don't let me get in the way of that if that's your will. I need to get out the way.
Larry, I appreciate the call. Thank you. Larry's line will be open, 303-696-1971. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a wonderful statement that I just, as a side note, I just think that more of us of faith need to understand sometimes that just let it be God's will. Sometimes your selfish nature needs to get out of the way. And sometimes when you release that control of what you are trying so desperately to hang on to, that's when God does his best work.
There you go. Well, and you're talking to a guy who's a conservative evangelical living in Colorado.
I know.
I'm trying to figure out God's will in the midst of all this.
And it's I
got to deal with Jared.
And it's so weird in this dynamic of the show when I get all spiritually and things, because that's your purview, my friend. That's yours.
Oh, it is a fun show. All right. His line's open if you want to jump in, 303-696-1971. Or text us on the Dan Capitalist Law text line at 720-819-5115. The Lost Jockey texting in, I think Trump is really hurting Christianity. I heard the same things around Bush. People that are progressive are going to look at the evangelicals and the Catholics that support the Republicans and go, you're hurting your faith by aligning so closely with these guys. Heard the same thing under Bush. All right, now it's time.
For me, it's just the idea of blending our religion and our politics to that level at times bothers me a bit. I don't want to live in a theocracy. I think we can and should keep them separate in many ways. I think your church should guide your choices inside the political realm and inside of voting, but to say that should be the overarching rule gets a little difficult for me. But
all right.
That's okay.
Feel free to join the conversation. Now it's time for the news.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Good morning. It is hump day, 55 and partly cloudy in Denver, 56 in the Springs. Expecting highs in the upper 60s today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning. For a new home heating and cooling system, contact your Lennox dealer, Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at pastorcamp.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Our top story, Colorado Democrats expressing their opposition to a planned new ICE facility in Hudson. Senators Hickenlooper and Bennett, along with Congresswoman Pedersen, are asking DHS Secretary Noem to abandon the plan to build the facility, demanding answers about the contracts, the planned conditions of the facility, oversight mechanisms, access to legal counsel, and family visitation. Hickenlooper says that the proposal to open another ICE detention center in Colorado takes a bad situation and makes it worse. 47 State of the Union covered a lot of bases, including the economy, Iran, tariffs, Mexico, and some back and forth shouting from Democrats. It was also the longest State of the Union speech in history, clocking in at about 1 hour and 47 minutes.
These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy.
The lefties didn't stand up for putting citizens first. Representatives Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib were loud and obnoxious throughout Trump's speech. I was looking at the video again today, the ISOs of both of them. Here they are.
That protect the criminals
Omar.
and enact serious penalties for public officials
Omar.
who block the removal of criminal aliens.
Omar. So she's yelling 3 times, screaming out there.
In many cases, drug lords, murderers all over our country,
And?
they're blocking the removal of these
And then both of them start screaming. So that's about 4 or 5, 6 times.
people out of our country. And you
Now Tlaib, she's screaming. That's who you hear. I mean, if you watch the ISOs, the isolation shots of both of these ladies, it's pretty obnoxious. It is ridiculous.
Here's the thing, Blake. I agree with you that they are being absolutely obnoxious. I think that's where the decorum is going, or lack of decorum.
Yeah.
However, I do feel that Trump masterfully manipulated them into the response. I think he was goading for that response 110%,
Absolutely.
and they gave him exactly what he needed. Jeff and I were talking off air that there's a thing about cheap pops and getting cheap heat in professional wrestling. Like you get in the ring, and if you're in Denver, you're like, hey, how's Denver doing tonight? And like, he said my name in my city.
Yes.
Yay! And Trump knew exactly what he was doing, and he kept throwing it out there until they took the bait. And you're absolutely right. They acted a fool. It's not okay. And he got him.
Do you have the audio of that other one from the swamp real quick? Why don't you pull that up? Because imagine this.
Yeah, I've got it.
Okay,
Yeah.
just imagine Trump is going, and then from the balcony, this guy appears.
Trump was on the Jeffrey Epstein plane. Trump was on the Jeffrey Epstein plane.
Okay.
Also, he's wearing a giraffe costume, so you got to remember who he is.
Okay,
It's
guys,
a giraffe
The
costume.
problem
Is that
was
what it
you didn't have the right people in the room. Let's just go full WWE,
Yeah.
right? Trump gets up
See,
there,
that's what I'm-
and then
yeah,
that
that's what
guy
I'm
comes
talking
in
about.
from the balcony. Trump, you were on the Jeffrey Epstein plane, and then he jumps down, and we're moving towards professional wrestling. People, just get used to it.
Well, it's a double standard because these two ladies probably don't have as loud a voice as, say, all three of us, okay? I mean, if Obama's up there and I'm screaming, whatever I feel and how I disagree with him, I would blow the doors off everything because I'm 5 times louder than them. So we're making these exceptions here. Let me see if this is a good example too.
You
Let me
should be
see.
ashamed of yourself.
Okay, then they kind of, the crowd kind of flooded them out. But she said, she screams, "You should be ashamed of yourself." And then Tlaib is there. I mean, can you imagine some really loud voices, men on the right, just screaming?
Now here's the thing is with the 4 kids in my house, one of my daughters has inherited my voice and my projection.
Oh, really?
And it is scary. she has this ability, and little tiny
there are
thing.
exceptions.
Yes, and she is an exception to the rule. Little tiny thing, and then just bah! And I'm like, wow.
Yes, because your voice is strong.
Yeah, and
no
it's fun
doubt.
because she works in the school system. So if she has to get the attention of someone out in the playground, yeah, she's good. Also,
that's awesome.
Yeah. Also, she can silence the lunchroom by doing that as well. So there are a few unicorns out there, but you're right, my friend. You're right.
Yeah. I mean, it would be good TV. Maybe the actual addresses would be better if you just allowed it all.
Oh,
and then
I
they
like
just
Jeff's
get
idea
tired.
of the pro wrestling thing. I mean, why not?
Let's just go, guys.
Oh,
we're
yeah.
halfway
I
there.
agree.
I mean, you have a guy in a
Ring jackets.
in a giraffe suit yelling. He sounds like Randy Savage in that.
Yeah,
Play that
he
again real
does.
quick, Bill.
Oh, yeah, here, hang on, let me get back
This
to it.
guy's at
I
the
go back a
swamp
little bit. Okay.
event that Jason Crow
Okay, here
is
he comes.
at.
Here he comes.
Plaza, and we're singing. Trump was on the Jeffrey Epstein plane. Trump was on the Jeffrey Epstein
And
plane.
you got to understand, he's wearing kind of those Macho Man sunglasses. So when Jeff
Yes.
says Macho Man, he's right. He is right on that. I can see that.
I don't have a problem
I like
with
that. I
that.
could do that. Yeah. I might actually tune in and like it more if we're just.
And then you
pro-
got
pro-
Al
Oh, you
Green
watch
saying
it.
black people ain't apes or rent apes or whatever it says with his hand covering the
Yeah.
part of that. I mean, it's already a spectacle. Let's just go all the way,
and
guys.
only
Might as well.
if and again, I just don't want this staged. I don't want this really to happen, but only if it's staged. If maybe either some Democrats or Republicans would stand up, or they would run out from the back, like they wouldn't show up right away, and they'd run out from the back and do chair shots on their opponents. Again, I'm talking pro wrestling. I don't want people hurt, but I want the performative nature. As long as we're going to do this, let's go all in. I'm okay with that. The one thing I
agree.
don't want to see, though, okay, there's one rule to this. None of you in Congress get to wear anything close to anything those professional wrestlers wear in the ring. I don't want to see that much skin, that much baby oil, that much glitter. No, don't
maybe
want it that
some
nice.
of
No.
them.
Hard pass.
How about Nancy Pelosi?
Yeah, no.
Did I just ruin everyone's breakfast?
Some people
you
are
go.
eating still.
But Four Corner Steve has a good point. Trump didn't want them removed. He
No. Oh,
yeah,
wanted
absolutely.
that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Debate.
right. I wouldn't want him removed either.
He played them like a fiddle. Not only his strategically asked question, but his engagement to get them to yell back it. That was masterful. Don't agree with it, and I can dislike what he was saying.
Right.
But I can recognize skill. That was skill.
Yeah, because what it did was turn into this. And they start chanting USA and drowned them out. I mean, they're still screaming right now. So here's what Jeff Crank, he was on the show this morning. Here's what he had to say about Trump, telling him, you guys people are crazy. Let me see here.
Yeah.
I got all types of stuff going on here. Sorry. All right. Had Crank there for a second. He froze.
I thought that was frankly, one of his best, most compelling moments is when he did that. And I'm certain that was very thought out and intentional. I'm sure the president thought to himself, they never stand when you say good things. So why don't I say something good that 98% of the American people would agree with, and let's see what they do. And that's exactly what he did. I thought it was kind of stunning. What was really interesting to me is how long it went. It was kind of an almost uncomfortable moment because it just kind of kept going. And
Okay, so that's history. Here we go. All right, I think 47's doing a very good job, but we cannot get into another endless war in the Middle East for Israel, please. Steve Witkoff says he'll hold another round of discussions with a delegation from Ukraine. Tomorrow's meeting is set to occur in Geneva, where the U.S. Special Envoy is heading for talks with Iran. Witkoff says the purpose of the meeting is to explore options for reaching a peace deal with Russia. This week marks 4 years since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Hoops. Downtown tonight, Celtics at the Nuggets in Lodo. The Avalanche trade defenseman Samuel Girard and a 2028 second-round draft pick to the Penguins on Tuesday in exchange for veteran Brett Kulik. 55 in the Springs, 54 in Denver. That's the latest. I'm Blake Olson. More of the Jeff and Bill Show ahead on News Talk 710 KNUS in Denver, and now on AM 1460 and FM 101.1 The Answer in Colorado Springs. This is where you hear both sides. We are the Jeff and Bill Show.
Very mild, but also very windy conditions along the I-25 corridor today from Denver to Monument Hill down into Colorado Springs and all the way down into Pueblo. We're going to be looking at really border to border, New Mexico to the Wyoming border, strong winds along I-25 as we have powerful jet stream winds streaking from the Pacific into the Rockies. Now, this has been productive overnight. The higher mountains in northern Colorado saw good snow and will see good snow through tonight. That'll help out the snowpack, but snow levels are going to be quite high due to the very mild temperatures in the 60s today. 50s and 60s tomorrow, then well into the 60s for Friday and Saturday as temperatures are going to stay well above average into the weekend. Do be ready for strong gusty winds and mostly cloudy skies. There is a slight chance of a shower tonight as some of that moisture could come off the mountains. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
.710 KNUS in Denver.
And now waking up with AM 1460, FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs.
All along the Front Range, this is the Jeff and Bill Show where you get both sides. We're providing analysis on last night's historic State of the Union, the longest ever, 1 hour, 48 minutes. And boy, they jumped into it. What did you think? What was your favorite moment? What really got you fired up and maybe frustrated with the President of the United States? Lots of text messages on either side of this. People saying this ain't going to save the Republicans. You guys are still going to face a big challenge. You look like little puppies out there just falling all over Donald Trump. 2983 texting that in. Let's go to the phone lines. Paul Golden. Good morning, Paul. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good. How are you? What did you think of the State of the Union last night?
To me, all politicians are centrists. I'm not going to say communists or fascists or any of that. It's just all politicians are centrists. Donald Trump is a centrist light. And then I would say that Biden is a centrist heavy. And, you know, this is kind of a post-constitutional republic that we have now. I think we kind of lost our hold on the First and Second Amendment. So now we're just centrists. And you really can't blame them because they all are part of the government and they want government to solve problems. And I would just say that, like the guy said before, we're seeing the kingdom of God coming. God has a better plan. Men cannot handle the government of men because it loses sight of freedoms.
All right, there you go. I appreciate it, Paul. Thanks so much. We'll continue More of the Jeff and Bill Show to come. News Talk 710 KNUS in Denver.
And on AM 1460, FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs. This is where you get to hear both sides. We'll be back right after this. We are the Jeff and Bill Show.
$710 KNUS in Denver.
And on AM 1460, FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs.
All along the Front Range. This is the Jeff and Bill Show. Billy, I'm going to tell you who the Colorado Democrat candidates had there as their guest. This is kind of interesting as their little kind of counter-protest to Donald Trump. But first, let's talk Colorado Christian University because they got a great speaker coming up. Hugh Hewitt, colleague of ours here at Salem, will be joining and speaking at Colorado Christian University on March 13th, 7 p.m. for the President Speaker Series. They're going to explore how Christians should navigate a world of division with faith, clarity, and hope. For decades, Hugh Hewitt has interviewed America's top leaders in politics, media, and culture, and now you can hear him live In his presentation, A Flock of Black Swans, a breakdown of American politics and modern journalism, Hewitt will offer sharp, thought-provoking insights drawn from decades at the forefront of media, law, and public discourse, exploring the unexpected forces shaping our political and cultural landscape. This in-person event tackles the big questions of our time: how Christians engage culture, speak truth with clarity, live out conviction with grace in a divided world. This Christ-centered evening is open to students, families, and the entire community. Tickets are on sale now. Seating is limited. Don't miss this rare opportunity. Learn more and reserve your seat today at ccu.edu/Hugh Hewitt. That's ccu.edu/Hugh Hewitt. All right. You ready for the guests?
Yes.
That were. How cool would it be to be a guest, though? Wouldn't that be awesome? It feels so important.
No.
Please come to the stage. Do you feel like that would be a punishment?
Yeah, I don't want to go. I don't want to. I got to dress up in a funny suit with a tie and stand there.
What's funny is the State of the Union to you is what ska is to me. It's like when people play it, I'm like, you're punishing me.
Fantastic. Oh, that's wonderful. I love that. That is a great example.
All right. So, among those in yesterday's audience, a guest of John Hickenlooper was Caroline Diaz Goncalves. She was the University of Utah student who was arrested by ICE agents in Mesa County last spring after a sheriff's deputy pulled her over in a traffic stop. Remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, she's a dreamer, saying immigrants like me, we're not asking for anything special. Yeah, you are. Just a fair chance to feel safe and to keep building the lives we've worked so hard for in this country we call home. Yeah. Bill, dreamers in my mind should be deported. So
really, why?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, why?
Because your parents breaking the law is not a ticket to jump to the front of the immigration line. Sorry.
But
I mean, just because your parents broke the law and brought you here and you were here as an illegal alien, no.
But
you should be deported.
Are they responsible for that decision, or is it just a downstream effect?
Well, your families are responsible for it.
Yeah, but,
yeah,
but the individual isn't. So, I mean, we don't.
Yeah, well, it's not a free ticket. It's not, my parents broke the law? Oh, I didn't really know. I was 3 years old when this happened. Please allow me to the front of the immigration line.
Well, and we can talk about front of the immigration line as a separate issue, but I'm just talking about whether or not they have any validity to being here, because we often don't hold family members responsible for crimes committed by other family members. We don't put people in jail. We don't put brothers and sisters in jail because one of them steals a car. We don't do it based on embezzlement. We don't do it based on extortion. We don't do it based on simple theft, robbery. We even don't do it in civil crimes in many cases. So that's the issue. It's a downstream effect that they didn't commit the crime. So are they held then responsible for the crime?
Yeah, because in your analogy, it'd be like somebody stealing from a bank, buying you a car, and then saying, I don't need to return the car because it was gifted to me. I didn't do the initial crime. No, you got to. I'm sorry. There was a crime that was committed, and you're tangentially a part of it. You don't get to benefit from that crime.
Well, then, and this is not fair. I'm going to acknowledge this first. I'm just going to say then someone needs to explain to the Trump administration they got to send all that tariff money back because it was just declared illegal. So if we're going to keep the tariff money,
there's plenty of lawsuits on that.
Yeah, I know. So that's where I'm kind of going with this. And for me, the issue is that with that class of dreamers, in many cases, they seem to have done exactly what people that seem to dislike the illegal immigrants want them to do. They assimilate, they go to our schools, they get jobs, and they learn English. They feel that they are American because that's the only life they've known, and they have completely assimilated here. And now we come back and say, even though you did all those things that we want the immigrants to do, get out.
Yeah.
And now
deport them all. Your parents were dumb. I'm sorry.
And that's why I feel that the entire argument from people that turn to the immigrants and say, you're not assimilating, I feel that is a Trojan horse. I feel is an excuse that is being made, because in this example, we have people that while here illegally and entered illegally have done everything that they want, but they're still not allowed. The idea that it wouldn't
everything
find
they want, go home, come the right way.
Again, they didn't have the choice on it, but they did what you wanted. They assimilated in every way, shape, and form that you desire, yet still they're not good enough. That's why I disagree.
Oh, it's simple. Go home and come the right way, even if your parents brought you here when you were young. John Hickenlooper, what we're talking about, brought a dreamer, the one that was, arrested in Mesa County when a traffic stop alerted federal authorities that she was here as a dreamer. She's saying, immigrants like me, we're not asking for anything special, just a fair chance to feel safe and to keep building the lives we've worked so hard for in the country we call home. I hope no one else has to go through what I did, and I hope my story and presence can help inspire change for a better future. No, I'm sorry, you are asking to be treated specially. Simply because your parents broke the law, you think that you should be able to jump to the front of the line. All right, let's talk Mountain High Appliance, folks. President's Day is a great time for additional savings of up to 70% at the Mountain High Appliance Clearance Center in Denver. Their clearance center offers a huge selection of ranges, refrigerators, washers, dryers, and more. Save on open box, scratch, and dent display models and overstocked appliances. Enjoy exclusive local deals not available at big box stores. When it's time for appliances, think Mountain High Appliance Clearance Center for the best prices and selection. 601 East 64th Avenue in Denver, 601 East 64th Avenue in Denver. Let's go to the phone lines. Marie in Denver. Good morning, Marie. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Good morning to both of you. I still think that both of you should be very specific about how come your parents were legal or your ancestors came here legally. And that means you need to give the date that they arrived and where they arrived.
Well, okay. Why is we have that on my wife's side?
Yeah, but if we did that, what would that then do? So if that, then what? Help me connect the dots, Marie.
Okay, because I think that we're all immigrants, and the statutes changed so much when they were, who was administering them, and there are a whole lot of people who are here, who've been here for generations, and who really can't say exactly how their ancestors got here. It wasn't Ellis Island until 1898, I think, 1890-something. Before that, it was not real clear. There were all kinds of different laws, mainly the states sometimes, or maybe the ships. It was all very different. So the idea that their parents broke the law and your parents are goody-good people could well be true, but just prove it.
Okay, but I mean, we have rules now. So if they don't follow the rules now, what should we do?
Well, we had rules then too, Jeff. Maybe your ancestors didn't follow the rules.
Possibly, but I mean,
that's why you're
I feel like if you're going to make the claim, you have to be able to prove it. Here in this case, you have a young woman who is a dreamer. It's very clear her parents didn't follow the rules. So what should we do with her?
Well, what we already did once said that they were dreamers and that they could go ahead and get jobs. And they were at one point, Biden tried to pardon them. I think they should be given asylum. They've been here, and we're not that clear on what's happening when. Biden had an open border, and Trump closed it. So everybody who came across an open border was not necessarily illegal. They were given asylum dates to apply in court for asylum. Okay? Then there were like Venezuela. There were refugees that came to this country on refugee status, and were on that status when Trump just eliminated them. So there's a whole lot going on with who's legal and who isn't. And you're quite sanctimonious, Jeff, that you're an American and you're good and you're legal and practically nobody else is. That's not true. I correct myself. That wasn't fair, and I apologize. But let's you both prove how legal your parents, your ancestors were.
Yeah, Marie, I just think that there's a kind of like a bleeding heart element there, that to be a compassionate nation, we just allow people to come in. And you don't see that in any other countries. America is the most generous nation when it comes to immigration in the world.
Because, my dear Jess, you are the product of immigrants. Okay? Now
right. So what I'm trying to understand, though, is do you believe that there should be any rules? And then what happens if somebody breaks those rules? What do we do with them?
Well, it depends, because you can break rules because they change after you come here under one rule, okay? And people have been deported. There's a whole, how do I want to say this? There are all kinds of different ways to become a citizen. The laws change all the time. And you're saying, of course, that the Dreamers, their parents were illegal, and that they shouldn't be.
Yeah, Marie, should we deport anybody?
I think that when people commit a crime in the United States and commit a crime and are convicted and in our prisons when they complete their term, yes, I think they should be deported, and that's public record.
Okay, so they let's say they commit murder or rape or something like that. Okay, we're going to deport those folks.
After they are convicted and serve time in our prison. Yeah.
Okay, and you're okay spending your tax dollars on that?
Spending what?
Spending your tax dollars incarcerating them? Providing
Absolutely.
food, health care, that type of thing. How about your tax dollars for the people that come here illegally, that need help, that need health care, education, those types of things?
I think the question is exactly when did they come here illegally? That's the issue, because you're presuming that we've always had a law that was clear for everybody and was always enforced, and they broke it, and that's not true. That's why you're dodging.
but what about the law now? I mean, I understand. Look, Marie, laws change all the time. They change over everything all the time.
Exactly.
So, but it doesn't seem to me like you want to hold anybody accountable for breaking the law today. What if somebody comes across the border today? What do we do with them?
Nobody's coming across the border today. Nobody's coming. Now, I just want you and Bill to just kind of document how your immigrant parents or ancestors came to this country.
I generally know how they came to this country, and they didn't break any rules.
Well, how did they come?
Part of our family came from Dutch resettlement, others English.
Okay, what years?
1940s for the Dutch, and then probably at the birth of this country for the English.
The birth of this country?
Yeah. I think we can trace it back to, like, for the Daughters of the American Revolution, that type of stuff. Have you ever gone through that process?
Yeah, my husband and our children, not me, are all.
So I just want to be clear, Marie. You don't think I can hold anybody accountable for breaking an immigration law today because we don't know what boat my family came across in the 1700s?
I think that what is happening is that we're dividing the country on the basis of who got here when and how. And I think that we need to, that's very, very dangerous when a group is consistently targeted as being illegal and criminal and all the things that's very,
but hold
very
on,
dangerous.
Marie, we're not just making up laws. These were laws that were duly passed by Congress, signed by the President of the United States. The people's hold on, Marie, you're going to let me finish. The people's representatives came up with laws and decided this is how we're going to move our country forward. And the people that are breaking those laws know there's a process. They're deliberately not following it, and we're supposed to hand them health care, education, and believe that they can just walk into this country illegally?
Okay, what is that migration law? When was it passed?
I think the current ones were passed in the 60s, 70s, and adjusted in the 90s.
I know that in 2007 there was a migration law that was bipartisan and that would be more specific than what you're tossing out, these different rules, these different laws, but I'm not getting a date. I'm telling you, in 2007 there was a bipartisan bill, migration bill.
Okay.
And Rush Limbaugh didn't like it. He told his radio audience, and I think between 20 and 30 million people, to call Congress and tell them not to pass it. And they broke the switchboard with their calls, and that was before cell phones.
Okay, Marie, I don't know what that has to do with anything. We have immigration laws right now. We have immigration laws. We as a nation elected our representatives. We passed immigration laws. There's a process to become a U.S. citizen, and people aren't following it. Why do you keep jumping back to the 1600s when people today aren't following the rules that we set up? Are you saying we don't have the right to set up new rules?
Look, you're all around the place. Okay? What I'm saying is that we have to acknowledge that we are all immigrants and that our ancestors came to this country looking for a better life, just like the people that are crossing the border now illegally. Okay?
Marie, I disagree entirely with what you just said. The people that built this country here followed the rules when they were set up to build this country. And you are bringing in a whole bunch. You're bringing in millions of people who are first act coming into this country is to break the rules that the people here set up for them. We've got to run. Maria, I appreciate the call. Her phone line's open if you'd like, 303-696-1971. All right, let's talk Black Eyed Pea of Colorado, locally owned and operated by Steve and Michelle. My whole family loves this restaurant. Yours will as well. 9 locations. There's sure to be one near you. They recently opened in Fort Collins. You can visit them at 807 East Harmony Road. This is the restaurant you want to take the family to. The Black Eyed Pea home-style cooking, worth going out for. They make everything from scratch: slow-cooked pot roast and meatloaf, chicken fried steak and chicken tenderloins, grilled salmon and grilled and fried shrimp, roast turkey breast, and glazed ham. They've got daily specials and senior discounts. The Black Eyed Pea has what your family is hungry for. Black Eyed Pea also does catering. Your dinner party, rehearsal dinner, wedding reception, or company event will be a success when you look to the Black Eyed Pea. I'm telling you, I love everything about this restaurant. Keep it in Colorado. Visit the Black Eyed Pea near you. BlackEyedPeaColorado.com. That's BlackEyedPeaColorado.com. More of the Jeff and Bill Show to come. You're listening to us on 710 KNUS in Denver.
And on AM 1460, FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs. This is where you hear both sides. Well, this conversation kind of proved it, doesn't it? Yeah, we're unlike anybody else out there. This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
710 KNUS in Denver.
And now waking up with AM 1460, FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs.
All along the Front Range, this is the Jeff and Bill Show. We're talking the State of the Union. Colorado Democrats, John Hickenlooper and Michael Bennett, sending a message with their guests. Hickenlooper bringing a dreamer. Bennett bringing Andrea Loya, the executive director of Casa de Paz. The nonprofit group works with people who are or were recently detained in Aurora's ICE facility, as well as their families. What do you think about the message being sent by Colorado's Democrat senators? Let's go to the phone lines. Jack in Wyoming. Good morning, Jack. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Yeah, good morning. About immigration, I'm 82 now, but when I was a teenager in New York, I frequently would run into people, and when they knew what my last name was, they would say, well, your grandfather sponsored my father to come over here from Italy. So apparently there was some sort of a vouching or a sponsoring process in immigration back in those days.
Oh, yeah, and they did analysis on you. You had to make sure if you had lice, for instance, you weren't allowed to get off the boat.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to make sure you contributed, too. They wanted to make sure you were actually going to benefit America.
You couldn't be a drain on society once you got here. If you did, they held your sponsor responsible. But they used to tell me all over New York when they heard my last name, oh, your grandfather brought my dad here, you know. It was just incredible. But that doesn't exist today. I mean, people just do what they want to do today. It's very relaxed.
Jax, Wyoming, I appreciate the call.
Yeah,
thanks so much. Let's talk Dan Kaplis with Dan Kaplis Law. Dan suggests you should choose a lawyer who shares your values because who you choose to represent you in an injury case says a lot about you to everyone involved in the case. Dan Kaplis, the son of a police officer and a former seminarian, he's dedicated the last 40 years of his life to helping people who've been hurt in serious motor vehicle crashes. Dan is believed to be the only lawyer in Colorado history to win not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 straight multi-million-dollar verdicts in Colorado crash cases. Dan is also believed to have won the largest truck crash verdict in Colorado state history. Dan Kaplis Law, the official law firm partner of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. Dan Kaplis Law is a serious firm for serious cases. Dan accepts righteous injury cases on a percentage fee basis so that he can represent good people from all walks of life without regard to ability to pay. So if you need Dan's help, give him a call. Here's the phone number, 303-770-5551, 303-770-5551, or hit dankaplislaw.com. That's Dan, C-A-P-L-I-S law.com. Let's go back to the phone lines. Mary, Wyoming. Good morning, Mary.
Hey, good morning, Mary.
Good morning. I'm a little frustrated as I start hearing the conversations regarding immigration. What I believe is missing is that folks don't realize, and I guess it's because you guys are white, you guys have not had to deal with it, and you know I don't bring race up very often.
Yeah, you don't.
But I am real frustrated that folks don't realize that invasion displaced the black community. We were the cooks at the short order cooks. We were the janitors. We were the fruit pickers. Those were our jobs. And our immigration was generous. We allowed people to come in so that we could assimilate those people into it. And yet we did 3 amnesties that allowed them to bring in 17 people each, 3 of them. So we have been very generous to our other communities. And yet we have allowed 20 million, and they're displaced the black community.
Yep. Mary,
and that's not part of the discussion.
Mary, we got to move on. I appreciate
exactly
it.
Right, Mary.
And I do have to give you credit for opening my eyes on that account. I had not considered that until you and I started having those conversations on and off air.
Let's go to Rusty, Denver. Rusty, we got about 30 seconds. Good morning, Rusty. Go.
Yeah, what's on your mind?
All right. I've thought all along that all these performative Democrats and their stupid tricks and pussy hats and all of that stuff were outliers, just crazy outliers. But they're just following the lead of their leaders in Congress. So it's
anyway, you saw that on full display.
Yeah, I can see that, Rusty. Yeah, give us a call
Rusty's
tomorrow or something when we have more time for you. Sorry about that.
And there's certain things we can't say on air, Rusty.
No, Watch the
Reminder.
video. You can hear that.
All right. It's been a great show. Thank you to everyone that participated. Gabe Evans is going to be with us tomorrow, and former director of the DEA. You're not going to want to miss it. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS in Denver.
And waking up with the